My name is Kevin. I am 40 years old, and up until 5 weeks ago, I truly believed my marriage was unshakable. Camilla and I had been together for 9 years, married for 6. She was the vice president of marketing at a biotech startup. Smart, charismatic, ambitious. I managed strategy and infrastructure at a cybersecurity firm I helped build from the ground up. On LinkedIn, we appeared as the perfect power couple, yet success can quietly slip away without warning. It does not make a grand announcement, it simply changes form. Like Camilla's late nights, new passwords, and how she never seemed to put her phone down. I was not imagining things. My work trains me to notice patterns. That's how I approach networks, risk analysis, and even people. It started subtly. She told me she was flying to Los Angeles for a brand leadership retreat. I offered to book her flight using my miles. She declined, saying it was already arranged. Then she packed something tight and revealing, hardly appropriate for a professional conference. I asked casually who else would be attending the retreat. She mentioned some executives and a few media contacts I would not know. Her tone was light but sharp. I nodded and wished her a safe journey. That very week, I found myself under tremendous pressure. We were in the midst of assessing a crucial merger with a prominent corporation. If it succeeded, it would elevate us to an entirely new tier: larger clients, global contracts, and full-scale expansion. I was in charge of encryption protocols and ensuring compliance. My team was fully committed, working around the clock. Yet, I still made time. Each evening I sent Camilla messages. Her responses were terse, a selfie from a networking dinner that felt more like a private lounge. Something seemed off. But I kept quiet, for the time being. Because in security, you do not pursue ghosts. You wait for the breach. And deep down, I sensed mine had already happened. Camilla arrived back from Los Angeles on a Thursday. She acted as if everything was unchanged, hugged me, kissed my cheek, and mentioned the retreat was exhausting but productive. I nodded, feeling relieved she was back. The next morning, she left early, mentioning she had a budget meeting with her chief financial officer. I worked remotely that day. She left her iPad on the kitchen counter. Camilla never forgot her devices, ever. That alone made me pause. I looked at the screen, half expecting it to be locked. Surprisingly, it wasn't. A calendar invitation was open. Samuel Carter, 11:30 in the morning, Hotel Lanford, room 1508. The name Samuel Carter was familiar. He used to hold a leadership role in technology, but now drifted as a consultant for one of the companies involved in the merger we were managing. The sort of person who showed up once sensitive information began to leak. I opened her email application. No password. That was the second mistake she made. I skimmed through quickly, focusing only on the subject lines. One immediately caught my eye. Files from Kevin's laptop. See attached. The message stated, "This includes the security structure and access rights. You will need to clear metadata before the meeting. I will handle Kevin. He remains unsuspecting." The sender was Camilla. The recipient was Samuel. Attached was a simplified version of our internal infrastructure diagram. My diagram. The one I had crafted. The one secured behind biometric security, yet the file she sent did not originate from her device. It came from mine. I stood up, headed to my office, and examined the logs. Camilla had used my laptop the night before her flight, supposedly just checking her email. She had transferred files using a USB-C drive, one I had not seen in many months. And then, as if to add insult to injury, I found a message from Samuel. "That dress last night, deadly. Can't wait to see what you wear in DC." They had planned another meeting, and she was not even trying to cover her tracks. Weeks ago, I noticed she stopped wearing her ring at home. Her excuse was that it was too loose and she did not want to lose it. That was the story she gave. This was more than infidelity. It was theft, betrayal disguised as marriage. I did not break down walls or shout. I remained calm, opened a secure terminal, and began the investigation. Camilla would be caught off guard. The truth about revenge is that feeling it means you have already lost. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, only intense focus. I contacted Liam Talbot, former NSSA agent, a man who does not require explanations, only instructions. We had worked together years ago on a joint mission. He knew how to disappear, find those who wished to stay hidden, and maintain complete discretion. I gave him a brief with only the crucial details. Camilla managed to obtain classified files on my laptop and then sent them to Samuel, who was working with a rival company engaged in the same acquisition negotiations as we were. It was blatant espionage. I needed undeniable proof of the transfer, something solid and usable. Liam understood the gravity of the situation immediately. Without any hesitation or questions, he agreed to help. We traced the IP path of the files. Samuel had accessed them using a hotel Wi-Fi network in Los Angeles. On that very evening, Camilla claimed to be out with her co-workers. Liam retrieved the session metadata. Samuel was using a disposable laptop. Camilla had transmitted the file from a cafe near the Los Angeles airport, routing it through a public proxy server. A careless mistake. We had enough evidence to take action, but I held back. I wanted more, something that would settle this beyond any doubt. The next move was mine. While Camilla was taking a shower, I took the chance to look through her phone. Notifications kept popping up. One in particular grabbed my interest, a message exchange with Samuel confirming their arrangement. Room 1508 once again, same hour, precisely at 12 noon. The anticipation was clear. There was no need for me to step in personally. Their rendezvous was already set. My role was simply to make an unexpected appearance. I created a forged document embedded with tracking beacons and a hidden exploit. Should Samuel try to open it, we would gather his full device fingerprint and exact GPS location. That morning, I sent a small velvet case via the Lanford concierge to room 1508. No sender was specified, only a note to deliver it in the early afternoon. Meanwhile, Camilla was busy plotting her next trick. I had already planned out her final moments in detail. The Lanford Hotel was located on the edge of downtown, a chic place with polished marble floors and high-end espresso. They thought it was just a casual meeting. It was anything but that. Liam was stationed close by, monitoring the signals from Samuel's device. I sat inside the cafe across the road with a clear view of the lobby. At 11:44, Camilla arrived, carrying her tote bag. She ignored the reception desk and headed straight for the elevators, as if this were a normal routine for her. At 11:46, a notification appeared on my phone. It was from Camilla. "Hey babe, running late. Can we have sushi tonight?" I decided not to respond. I had a more critical plan unfolding. By 11:48, Samuel showed up, tall and poised, calm and composed. He glanced around with ease before heading toward the elevators. Liam's voice buzzed in my earpiece. "His phone has already activated our tracker. Decoy files are in motion." As Samuel stepped into the elevator, his laptop silently uploaded system specs, hardware data, and 3 years' worth of email headers directly to our secure server. At 12:10, I entered the lobby and walked up to the front desk. Earlier that day, I had arranged a delivery with the concierge. "Has room 1508 received the package I sent?" I inquired, keeping my voice steady. The concierge just smiled. "Yes, sir. It was hand-delivered about 10 minutes ago." Inside the small box lay her wedding ring, the very one she had stopped wearing weeks before. I had kept it stored in my desk drawer, waiting for this moment to come. Underneath the ring was a note. I saw everything. The exits reflected in the mirror. I stepped back outside and headed toward the cafe once again. Through the window, I spotted the elevator doors opening. Camilla appeared first, her eyes wide, clutching the velvet box tightly in one hand. Samuel followed directly behind, speaking sharply. She was still buttoning her blouse, her face pale. She turned her head and locked eyes with me across the street. I raised my coffee cup in acknowledgement. She froze immediately. For the first time, I smiled. She had no rehearsed words. Then I stood up, walked calmly to the corner, and got into Liam's car. Not a single word passed between us. He smoothly merged into traffic and began driving. Camilla arrived home that night at 10:41 p.m. She didn't say a thing as she entered, simply dropped her purse on the console table and stood in the doorway, staring at me sitting on the couch. "You hacked me," she stated coldly. "No," I replied. "I traced the trail you left behind. And it was easy." She folded her arms, but the confidence had disappeared. The usual facade she wore was completely shattered. "You don't realize what is truly going on," she tried. "I understand perfectly," I said, standing up. "You used my laptop, stole my company's encryption blueprints, sold them to Samuel Carter, who is working with a direct rival of the firm we are negotiating with. You manipulated me to get access." Her jaw clenched. "I didn't sell it. I only handed over information." "That was not yours to give," I said, moving closer. "And you did more than betray me. You committed a serious federal offense." She looked ready to argue. Then she noticed the manila folder I had taken from the coffee table. "These have the timestamps, Camilla. The emails, file transfers, IP logs. I already backed up everything on 2 external drives and 1 offline secure location." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "What do you want?" I responded, placing the documents carefully in front of her, saying, "I want you to sign these divorce papers. By tomorrow morning, you will submit your resignation to the board and disappear without a trace, or I will take this directly to the Department of Justice." Her hands shook slightly as she reviewed the papers. "You can't be serious. I have never been more serious in my whole life." She blinked. "And if I agree, your name stays out of the formal complaint. Samuel takes the blame. You lose everything but avoid prison. This is the best offer you will receive." She slumped into the chair, all resistance fading away. "You were never meant to find out about this." I leaned in closer. "You were never supposed to be this careless." Then I left the room, leaving her alone with the folder, the papers, and the silence as her future slipped away. Camilla signed the papers the following morning. She did not shed a tear. She did not beg, simply wrote her name and pushed the folder across the dining table like a broken promise. By noon, her resignation was made public. Citing personal reasons, the statement declared. I saw through it. So did several board members at her firm who had already been sent the evidence package. I leaked it anonymously through a secure channel. Samuel Carter disappeared swiftly. Liam sent the beacon logs and the device's unique signature to the legal department at the firm he had been collaborating with, the very same one already facing investigation for a separate security incident. They cut all ties with him before I had the opportunity to initiate legal action. Camilla moved out within 7 days. There were no disputes or drawn-out goodbyes, only silence and a few cardboard boxes left behind. 3 days later, the company we were negotiating with reached out to us. They discovered the attempted data breach, not through me, but thanks to their own risk detection systems, which Liam subtly helped steer in the right direction. They wanted to know how I managed to stop the breach, identify the insider, and prevent the situation from escalating into a full-blown scandal. I provided them with a carefully crafted version of events, excluded Camilla's name, and explained that the leak was intercepted, neutralized, and traced back to an external source that was no longer operational. A week later, the firm I was with secured a long-term cybersecurity deal with the company we had been in talks with. Our revenue tripled overnight. Our names started appearing on short lists we had never had access to before. Liam and I agreed it was time for a fresh start. We launched a more streamlined, sharper enterprise. Brennan and Talbot, leaders of discrete private sector operations in digital combat. People trusted us because we did not just provide security, we lived and breathed it. For my part, my nights improved. Not because Camilla had disappeared, but because I never lost my grip. I maintained control the entire time. 6 months later, Brennan and Talbot had expanded to 6 full-time analysts, a client list we once could only imagine, and an office boasting a breathtaking view of the Boston waterfront. We never advertised ourselves. We never pursued clients actively. The work came to us because in an industry driven by doubt, reputation is everything. Mine was clear-cut. I stood firm even when the knife was already embedded in my back. One Friday evening, I stayed late reviewing contracts. At exactly 7:43 p.m., my phone vibrated. A message appeared from an unknown number, but I instantly recognized who it was without saving the contact. "Camilla, I hear you have started your own company. Congratulations." I read it, paused thoughtfully, then deleted the message without responding. I left the office near 8 and went out for dinner. I was not alone. Natalie was waiting for me by the bar. We had been acquaintances for many years. She handled compliance at one of the firms we had previously worked with, sharp, clever, and direct. When she saw me, she stood up and offered a subtle smile. We shared a meal and spoke about work and what lies beyond starting anew. She never mentioned Camilla, nor was it needed. There was a certain ease to it. No expectations, just 2 people who had experienced enough to stop pretending. It wasn't about replacing someone or mending what was already gone. It was about creating something solid moving forward this time. The following morning, I took a run along the waterfront. The sky was spotless, my rhythm even, and nothing pulling me down. Because sometimes, the best form of revenge isn't destruction. It's having a clear perspective. And I had mine.